And then she said, "We can deliver much earlier than you're asking for, and come in under budget." Sorry, Mom, I have to let you go. Someone is here for an appointment. Oh, hello. I didn't see you standing there. Before you say anything, let me guess. You've been working through a project of high importance, and all of a sudden your cost, time, and scope constraints have shifted so far into the left field that things are beginning to spiral out of control? I thought so. This is typical for anyone in the IT project management field without proper risk management skills. What? You don't know what risk management is? You're in luck. I've got the team just for you. With our help, you'll be able to get the project right back on track and prevent this from happening in the future. Let's show them what we've got, team. James, let's start with you.
Thanks, Chris. Did you know that planning and risk management is the process of deciding how to approach risk management activities and plan for them in a project? Of course not. That's why you're here. A risk management plan documents the procedures for managing risk throughout the project. Project teams should hold several planning meetings early in the project lifecycle to help develop the risk management plan. In order for you to create a successful risk management plan, you will want to include these topics. Methodologies. How will the risk management be performed on this project? What tools and data sources are available and applicable? Roles and responsibilities. Stating which people are responsible for implementing special tasks and deliverables. Budget and schedule, which state estimates costs and schedules for risk-related activities. Risk category, the main categories for a risk project. Risk probability and impact. How will probability impact items be addressed? What scoring and interruption methods are used for quantitative and qualitative analysis of risk? Revised stakeholder tolerance. Have stakeholders' risk tolerance changed? How will changes affect the project? Tracking. How will the team track risk management? How will lessons learned be documented and shared? How will they be audited? Risk documentation involves what reporting format and processes will be used for this risk management activity. In addition to your risk management plan, many projects also include contingency plans, fallback plans, and contingency reserves. Once you've spent some time planning for risk management, you want to spend some time identifying risks. Craig is your man for risk identification.
Thanks, James. Hi there. Identifying risks is the most important part of project risk management because, quite frankly, if you don't know your risks, how can you manage them? By identifying risks, you can work to minimize the impact of bad ones and increase the impact of good ones. Emily will discuss this later, but back to me. You need to determine the categories of risk which might be specific to your project. Some of these could include schedule, finances, technology, and people. It's also important to identify risks in each of the project management knowledge areas, which include the triple constraints of scope, time, and cost. There are several techniques to identifying what risks to expect, but I only have time to discuss a couple of these. But after gathering pertinent information regarding a project, organizations might use a process called brainstorming. No, not that kind of storm. Brainstorming is when a group of people get together to come up with ideas in a non-judgmental environment. There are no bad ideas during this session. Everyone is encouraged to come up with their own ideas on what type of risks might be encountered during the life of the project. One problem with this method is some people may be intimidated and not be as creative as they would be if they were coming up with ideas on their own. Another method you might use is called interviewing. This is as simple as it sounds. You talk to people that have had a similar project and ask them to identify any problems they had or what went right. And once you identified the project risk, you need to prioritize them, and you can do this using a risk register. Again, no. A register is used to document all the risks you've identified into a spreadsheet. This tool is useful to list out all the risks in one area and prioritize them according to likelihood and severity. Now that you know a little bit about identifying your project risks, Rico's going to talk to you about how to analyze them and determine which ones are more important to focus on.
Thanks, Craig. I'll take it from here. Now that you know what risk management is and how to identify risks, you'll need to be able to analyze and categorize them as well. Don't worry, this will be a lot easier than you think. Quality versus quantity. And no, we're not talking about your most recent string of dates. Quality risk analysis prioritizes risk based on their probability and outcome. Think of this stage as counting cards in a game of poker. You're basing your decisions on a probability of the other player's hands. Now that we've talked a little bit about quality, let's get into the quantitative bit of things. In quantitative risk analysis, you put a numerical estimation on the effect of the risk. It helps to envision this stage as paying for repairs on a vehicle. You have to figure out what you can afford and how much certain repairs are going to cost, or you'll be riding a shoe leather express for quite some time. Now that we know a little bit about qualitative and quantitative risk analysis, I can pass you off to Emily.
Thanks, Rico. That was super helpful. What's that? You've been performing risk analysis? Fun stuff, huh? Oh, you think you're done? Ugh, everyone always forgets to plan their risk responses. Yes, that's right. Risk responses. Here, let me show you. You need to plan what it is you're going to do with all of those risks you've identified and analyzed. So you've got two types of risks, your positive risks and your negative risks. They should be handled differently. First, let's look at what you do with your negative risks. With negative risks, you have 4 basic response strategies. You can avoid the risk altogether if you can eliminate the causes of that risk. You can choose to simply accept the consequences of the risk if it occurs. You can transfer the risk to another party, like with insurance or warranties, or you can mitigate your risk by reducing the probability of it happening. Okay, let's move on to positive risks. People always think they don't need to worry about positive risks, but they're wrong. Those people miss out on some great opportunities. When you have a positive risk, you can exploit it by doing everything you can to make that risk happen. Or you can share the risk with another party, benefiting more than just your own project stakeholders. You can enhance the risk or make it larger by identifying and maximizing key drivers of the risk. Otherwise, you can just accept the positive risk as a win. With these basic strategies down, you should be ready to plan your risk responses, but you're not done yet. Check back with Chris before you go so you can learn about controlling risks.
Huh? What? Who's there? Sorry about that. I thought you would have left a long time ago. I'm glad you stuck with us this far. You're almost done, I promise. Controlling risks involves the execution of the risk management process to respond to risk events and ensuring that risk awareness is an ongoing activity performed by the entire project team throughout the lifespan of the project. Project risk management does not stop with the initial risk analysis. Identified risks may not materialize, or their probabilities of occurrence or loss may diminish. Risks identified previously may be determined to have a much larger probability of occurring or end up having a much higher estimated loss value. Not only that, but new risks can easily be identified through the same process as those identified during the initial risk assessment. Okay, I know, risks are everywhere, but this is why you need to control them. Carrying out individual risk management plans involves monitoring risks based on defined milestones and making decisions regarding risks and their response strategies. This is where we have to let you go. I know, risks are scary things, and without the knowledge on how to mitigate them, they will remain that way. Having the right knowledge, plan, and tools in place can allow you to successfully manage these risks. All of a sudden, risks become no longer scary. I know, we've discussed quite a bit. Lucky for you, if you ever need us again, you could easily replay this video and watch us over and over and over and over and over and over again. As long as you don't get sick of us, we'll be here to help you. For now, get out there and show those risks who's boss.